This is Matt Binder with another aspect of the 30-meter telescope sublease debate, which will continue on Friday. Yesterday we looked at the rent amount. Today we consider two other aspects of the agreement approval: decommissioning and historic preservation consultation. It will cost $1.3 billion to build the 30-meter telescope, but the TMT International Observatory LLC is also responsible for taking it down and leaving the northern plateau the way they found it. That means setting aside money for the decommissioning of the observatory.
We have also developed a decommissioning funding plan under which TIO will deposit $1 million a year in a sinking fund that will be used to decommission the telescope at the end of its useful life or at the end of the lease. The estimated cost in 2013 dollars is $17 million to decommission the telescope. This is the first real estimate for the cost of decommissioning that we have for any telescope in Hawaii. It was very carefully done by a third party and is probably the most accurate estimate that we're going to have. In addition, all of the members of TIO have signed their commitment for their agencies or their governments to decommission the telescope fully at the end of the project. And this is the first time we have had that. That was received very well by Kahuku-Mauna, who viewed that as a milestone in UH's management of the mountain. And I think it sets a standard for the other telescopes who currently hold subleases under our current lease up there.
Waimea resident Kalani Flores, who opposes the project, says it's not enough.
What the subleasee and the leasees have not really disclosed to you, they're short of about 20% of the completion funding for this project. Right now, they only have 83% funding for the project. So what happens when they start to build out this project? And let me give you, 20% is roughly $200 to $300 million. What happens when they build out this project and they don't have sufficient funds to complete the project? Will they have sufficient funds to decommission the project? You hold other leasees to have bonds to ensure, to have financial assurance that they complete a project. The TMT should provide documentation that they have 100% financial assurance to proceed with this project. Otherwise, they should not be proceeding. Then, that's why it's requested that this should be included in the sublease, that before construction begins, they should have that assurance.
But how much is enough? Another issue is being raised by TMT's opponents, specifically a letter from the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation to the National Science Foundation, dated June 4th, questioning the required compliance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act.
Finally, we are aware that the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation has sent a letter to National Science Foundation regarding compliance with a National Science Foundation grant for the development of the TMT mirror. And specifically, the ACHP is asking about, asked NSF about compliance with 106. Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. Although satisfaction of 106 consultation requirement is outside of the purview of the BLNR, the potential failure to complete this 106 review may place the TMT project in violation of the TMT's CDP Condition 1, that applicant shall comply with all applicable statutes, ordinances, rules, regulations, and conditions of the federal, state, and county governments.
Why is Section 106 significant? That is a process for consultation to see if there are any possible mitigations for a project of this scope and size that receives funds towards it, federal funds towards it. In the event, after Section 106 is completed, and there are things that need to be mitigated, and if you pass the sublease, it'd be too late to insert those into the sublease afterwards. That's why the sublease should not be approved.
These issues will be addressed at the Board of Land and Natural Resources meeting when it takes the issue up again on Friday. Matt Binder, Big Island Video News.